This video was made in collaboration with the Avatar Wiki. If you'd like to learn more, check out the link in the description. The history of the Air Nomads. Air Nomads is the collective term for the monastic order of men and women who practice the discipline of airbending and their seclusive theocratic society. One of the four major nations, the Air Nomads were wanderers by definition, but had 4 air temples, one at each corner of the globe, hidden away atop mountain ranges and under cliffs, in the Northern Earth Kingdom and on 3 remote islands. Unlike the other nations, the people of the Air Nomads were, without any seen exception, all benders due to the high level of spirituality of their people. Welcome to the Amagi. In today's video, we're going over the history of the Air Nomads. Before we begin, we publish a new video every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Origin. In the era of Rava, ancestors of the Air Nomads received the element of air from lion turtles that granted them the power through energy bending. They could request the ability whenever they ventured into the spirit wilds to aid in the gathering of food and resources. Unlike people from other lion turtle cities, the first airbenders coexisted harmoniously with the spirits and demonstrated great respect and understanding of spiritual matters. These people eventually formed the first Air Nomads after the lion turtles renounced their roles as protectors of mankind in 9829 BG. At this point, the ancestors of the first Air Nomads left the lion turtle cities in favor of establishing temples in all 4 corners of the globe. As a nation. Around 3829 BG, Guru Lahima lived at the Northern Air Temple before the political establishment of the 4 nations. His poetry and philosophical works would remain influential in the 4 nations for thousands of years. 40 years prior to his death, Lahima relinquished his earthly attachments and achieved the power of flight, living the rest of his life untethered from the earth. The feat would not be accomplished again in millennia. Avatar Yang Chen of the Western Air Temple was considered one of the greatest avatars in history. She mediated in conflicts between humans and spirits, making peace with General Old Iron by making sure the ruins of Lady Tianhai's city would remain free of human civilization, and kept the southern coast of the Earth Kingdom in peace by signing a treaty with the leader of the 5th nation. Yang Chen became revered as a holy figure in the Earth Kingdom and among the Air Nomads following her death. In remembrance of her intervention with General Old Iron, the Air Nomads continued to make yearly pilgrimages to the statue of Lady Tianhai, renaming the ritual Yang Chen's Festival. Over time, 2 statues were made of Yang Chen, one in the Eastern Air Temple and one in the Western Air Temple. No threats of war occurred for an entire generation after her death, ushering a prolonged period of peace across the world. Kelsang of the Southern Air Temple became a close companion to Avatar Kuruk during his lifetime, and following the Avatar's death, was dedicated to finding the Avatar's successor in the Earth Kingdom. However, Kelsang was disowned by the Air Nomads for taking human life after destroying Tulak's 5th nation fleet and killing many of the crew. Despite being an Earth Avatar, Kyoshi was in fact half Air Nomad. Her mother Jessa had been a nun from the Eastern Air Temple who had turned renegade, rising to become the head of the criminal flying opera company. Kyoshi herself was raised by Kelsang and formed a close bond with him. At the end of her struggle against Jianzhu, Kyoshi sought sanctuary at the Southern Air Temple and requested that Kelsang's name be restored to a place of honor. Before departing, Monk Jimpa joined the Avatar, acting as her secretary for the next year. Avatar Roku learned airbending at the Southern Air Temple, becoming good friends with a young monk named Gyatso. Extinction. 12 years after the passing of Avatar Roku, Firelord Sozin used a comet, later named Sozin's Comet, to enhance his army's firebending abilities to eliminate the Air Nomads, the next nation in the Avatar cycle, to achieve his goal of world domination. The High Monks anticipated a war coming, and the Council of Elders of the Southern Air Temple decided to reveal to Aang his identity as the Avatar prematurely at the age of 12 as opposed to the standard 16. His airbending training was subsequently intensified despite already having earned his mastery tattoos. The revelation made Aang feel his childhood was taken away from him, and everyone suddenly treated him differently. When the monks attempted to separate Aang from his master and father figure Gyatso to complete his airbending training at the Eastern Air Temple, Aang, having overheard the conversation, ran away on his bison Appa. They accidentally got caught up in a storm and crashed at sea. While sinking, Aang unconsciously entered the Avatar state, freezing himself and Appa in a sphere of ice, which kept him alive for the next century. Meanwhile, the Fire Nation attacked the temples in a preemptive strike and exterminated the airbending population, though failed to track down the Avatar. The Air Acolytes. A year after the war, Avatar Aang discovered a group of Earth Kingdom citizens who had built a fan club in his honor. Initially disgusted at seeing the sacred aspects of his culture mimicked, he eventually transformed them into the Air Acolytes, a community of nuns and monks dedicated to upholding air nomad culture. Years later, Aang's marriage to Katara blessed him with an airbending son, Tenzin, who was extensively taught by Aang in airbending and air nomad culture. The population of the Air Acolytes grew, prompting Aang to spearhead the restoration of the air temples to serve as their new homes. Aang also built a fifth air temple in the newly established United Republic of Nations, which came to be known as Air Temple Island. Tenzin, who became the Air Nation's representative on the United Republic Council, came to reside in the island with his wife, Pema, and their 4 children, 3 of whom are known airbenders. Rebirth of a Nation. In 171 AG, the energy shift caused by harmonic convergence resulted in several non-benders obtaining airbending abilities, prompting Tenzin and Avatar Korra to travel the world to recruit volunteers to be trained in the ways of the Air Nomads. This proved to be a daunting task, as most of their new prospects rejected the idea of leaving their loved ones and worldly possessions behind. However, they discovered a group of airbenders captured by Earth Queen Hao Ting, who is conscripting airbenders into her army to form a first airbending regiment. The new airbenders were rescued and given the chance to be relocated somewhere safe, or join Tenzin at the Northern Air Temple to live in peace and train as air nomads. They all decided to train under his tutelage. However, the 2 sides found it difficult to find a middle ground due to Tenzin's expectations of the volunteers to be identical to the old air nomads. Eventually, both parties made amends following a bison rustler attack and resumed training. Following the insurrection of the Red Lotus and the incapacitation of Avatar Korra, the new Air Nation returned to its nomadic roots. But unlike their predecessors' reclusive nature, they instead dedicated themselves to bringing peace and balance to the world. By 174 AG, the nation's population had grown, as more new airbenders came to train in the art on Air Temple Island. The Air Nation joined the fight against Kuvira when she invaded the United Republic and laid waste to Republic City. Following Kuvira's arrest, the airbenders joined the relief effort for the homeless evacuees at the evacuation camp, while another group gathered around the new spirit portal to meditate and later protect it against intruders. The portal and land surrounding it was eventually given to them by President Julie Moon in hopes that they would continue to thrive and flourish in an area rich with spiritual energy, while at the same time keeping it safe from those who would wish to exploit it. Culture. While other nations possess royalty and are run by hereditary monarchies, the Air Nomads were led by the senior monks and nuns of the air temples. Due to the peaceful teachings of their leaders, the nature of the people was calm and tranquil. They also believed in equality for all, that people should live without divisions in society. In that spirit, same-sex relationships were completely accepted in air nomad culture. The air nomads were considered to be bearers of good fortune throughout the world, and people would often ask them for their blessings. Having an air nomad say a few words of spiritual blessing over a new barn or baby was considered great luck. When monks and nuns would have to stop at villages across the world along their journeys from temple to temple, most peasants would gladly provide them hospitality in exchange for help with chores, news, and entertaining stories from other parts of the world, or a promise to relay messages to distant relatives. The Air Nomads are the only nation comprised entirely of benders. Meditation was an important part of the airbenders' daily routines, as it helped them to focus their energies and understand the potency of their element. Due to their high spirituality, the monks believed that hope was only a distraction. It has been mentioned that they had a good sense of humor, something demonstrated when monk Gyatso employed a unique teaching method when tutoring Aang with his airbending skills, accurately blowing fruit pies onto other monks' heads as a prank. This activity was useful training and a fun game combined. The Air Nomads also revered certain events and holidays, such as Yangchen's festival, which celebrated the Avatar's victory over a dark spirit. The holiday was marked as one of the highest on the Air Nomad calendar, and according to Aang was also one of the funnest celebrations of their culture. The arrow tattoos adorning the Air Nomad's body signifies that he or she has mastered airbending. This is an emulation of the natural arrows on the heads of flying bison, who can naturally airbend and are the original teachers of the art, much like the badger mole is to the earthbenders. Aspiring airbenders have no tattoos, and in order to receive the tattoos as well as the title of a master, an airbender must pass the 36 levels of airbending or engineer a new technique. In actuality, Aang had only reached the 35th level before he left the Southern Air Temple, but his invention of the air scooter earned him the tattoos prematurely, making him the youngest airbending master in history until his granddaughter, Jinora, earned her tattoos at the age of 11. Aang's son, Tenzin, later became the first to master the bending art following the Air Nomad genocide. After receiving their tattoos, the airbender is anointed a master during a special ceremony. The Air Nomads also preached against the concept of revenge, viewing it as being akin to a two-headed rat viper. By destroying your enemy, you poison yourself. A century later, under the new Air Nation, an oath of non-aggression was to be declared by a new earthbender, by which they swore to adopt the more pacifistic ways of the Air Nomads by using direct combat solely as a last resort. Natural resources and foods. The Air Nomads were a tranquil people who endeavored to preserve the environment around them. Any industry that they invested in, such as farming or gardening, was sustainable and powered naturally, so as not to disturb the balance of nature. Air is the main source of power of the Air Nation, as it was for the Air Nomads. Their control over the element means they have no need for industrial machinery, combustion, or electricity, and whatever trades and crafts they engage in are fairly non-polluting. They are also able to ride on their sky bison and glide in the open air for transportation. By 170 AG, however, a radio was located on Air Temple Island for communication purposes. Due to the non-materialistic culture of the nation, the Air Nomads did not excavate the rich mineral deposits filled with iron and crystals that lay beneath their grounds. Believing all life to be precious, the Air Nomads were strict vegetarians, though they were not against eating eggs or dairy products, as Aang was willing to eat an egg custard tart. The Nomads were also known for making sweet dishes such as pies, which were sold for 1 silver piece each with all profits given to charity. This vegetarianism was continued by Tenzin and his family, with a garden located on Air Temple Island for growing vegetables. Military. Contrary to the propaganda spread in the Fire Nation, the Air Nomads did not have any form of military, as they were firm believers in peace and nonviolence. Although the Air Nomads did not have any organized fighting force, they still proved to be formidable opponents, as Gyatso's skeleton was found surrounded by the remains of several comet-enhanced firebenders he had defeated when attacked. Because they were pacifists, Air Nomads led peaceful lives and avoided conflict when possible, though were willing to fight when there was no other option left to take. Aang also mentioned that Fire Lord Sozin defeated the Air Nomads by ambush. Despite this and their pacifist nature, Tenzin declared after Avatar Korra was severely physically and psychologically hurt by the Red Lotus metal poison that the restored Air Nation adopted the nomadic ways of their predecessors, but with the intention of becoming bringers of peace and balance. Airbender parties scoured the Earth Kingdom after the nation's fall into chaos following Earth Queen Hao Ting's assassination at the hands of Zahir in 171 AG. In this capacity, Kai and Opal forcibly halted the escape of 3 bandits who were terrorizing the capital of the Earth Kingdom state of Yi in 174 AG. However, the Air Nation was spread too thin to cover the entirety of the large Earth Kingdom to effectively bring order and balance. They also participated in the defense of Republic City when the Earth Empire invaded it, and later acted as guardians of Republic City's spirit portal, protecting the spirit world from human intervention. Did you enjoy our video? Be sure to check out these other great videos from the Amagi, and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.